Today in this lecture we will be going to study about the structure and the functions of the skin. Okay, so skin is one of the largest organs of the body. So the largest of the organ of the body is skin. Okay, so 15%, almost 15% of the total adult body weight, 15% of total adult body weight, that's formed by the skin. Okay, if we will go to the surface area, skin is having the surface area of almost 1.5 to 2 meters square in case of the adults. Okay, so in adults it contains almost 1.5, the surface area is almost 1.5 to 2 meters square. So this is the surface area of the skin. Okay, and in certain areas it contains glands, it contains hairs, it contains nails. Okay, so these will be extensions: glands, hairs and nails. These are the extensions of the skin. Okay, now we will go to the layers of the skin. There are three major layers of the skin which I have already mentioned here. First one is epidermis, then we have the second layer, that is dermis, and then we have the third layer which is called as the hypodermis. So epidermis, dermis and hypodermis, these are the three layers of the skin. So epidermis is the outermost layer of the skin, dermis is the middle layer of the skin, and hypodermis is the innermost layer of the skin. So we will start with the first one, which is epidermis. Okay, epidermis, which is also called as superficial, or we can call it as visible layer. Okay, so we'll start with the first one, that is epidermis. So this epidermis is superficial and this is a visible layer. We can see this layer from the outside. Okay, so for example, if we will go the thinnest layer of epidermis, so eyelid is having the thinnest layer of epidermis, thinnest epidermis or thinnest layer of epidermis. So eyelid is having the thinnest layer of epidermis, whose area is almost, thickness is almost less than 0.1 millimeter. Okay, and where is the thickest? Palms and soles of feet. These have the thickest epidermis layer, having the thickness of almost 1.5 mm approximately. Okay, now the epidermis is mainly made up of stratified keratinized squamous epithelium. Stratified keratinized squamous epithelium. So the epidermis is mainly or majorly made of the stratified keratinized squamous epithelium. Okay, that is the main constituent of the epidermis, and there are different layers, there are different cells which are present in the epidermis, and majority of the cells are two types are major. One is keratinocytes, and second one is dendritic cells, which are present in the epidermis. So keratinocytes and dendritic cells, these are two types of cells. These keratinocytes, these form intercellular bridges, means they form the bridge between the two cells. Intercellular bridge. Okay, and these keratinocytes, these contain a constituent which is called as the keratin. Keratin gives the toughness to the skin. Okay, so these mainly contain keratinocytes mainly contain the keratin. Then there are other cells also which are called as, for example, the cells which are other cells which are present are melanocytes. These melanocytes, what they contain? These are present in the basal area. Okay, melanocytes. So melanin, it's transferred to keratinocytes through, is transferred to keratinocytes through melanosome. So this melanin, okay, so melanocytes, they contain melanin, and this melanin is transported to keratinocytes, these type of cells, through melanosome. Okay, then two types of melanin are present. Okay, there are types of melanin also. So two types of melanin is present. One is called as the eumelanin, and second one is called as pheomelanin. Eumelanin and pheomelanin. So eumelanin, it exists black and brown. It can be black and brown, while as this one gives the red color to the skin. red color, this gives black and brown color. So this is about the melanocytes, and this melanin is having an important function, which is it protects us from UV protection. I mean, it protects us from the UV rays. So it has the UV protection. This is the function. Okay. Second, skin and hair color. Skin plus hair color, it's all only because of the melanin. Okay. Then we have second type of other cells which are present in the basal layer. One is melanocytes. Second one is Langerhans cells. Langerhans cells. Okay. So they are the part of immune system. Part of immune system. So Langerhans cells, these are the part of the immune system. Then we have another type of cells which is called as the Merkel cells. Merkel cells. These have the sensory function. Sensory function we can feel because of these things. Okay. So sensory function of skin for touch, temperature, etc. The touch feeling, the feeling of the temperature. So this is all because of the Merkel cells. Or pressure. This is because of the Merkel cells. Okay. So as per now the major cells which are present in the epidermis, we are talking here about the epidermis. So the major cells which are present in the epidermis, those are keratinocytes. So these are the major cells which are present in the epidermis. And according to, as per the shape of the keratinocytes, epidermis has the different layers. Okay, I have made here the different layers of the epidermis. So these are layers of epidermis. So you can see from the diagram the epidermis. So this part, this is called as the epidermis. So this whole part is called as the epidermis. Okay, the abolayer, the superficial layer. So the superficial layer is called as the epidermis, which contains the shaft of the hair also, or it can contain the pores of the sweat glands also. Okay, so this is called as the epidermis. Now this epidermis has different layers as per the shape of the keratinocytes. So first layer is stratum corneum. This one, this is called as stratum corneum. Stratum corneum. Then second layer, it's called as stratum lucidum. Stratum lucidum. Then third, it's called as stratum granulosum. Stratum granulosum. Then there is fourth, stratum spinosum. And the last one is called as the stratum basilae. Actually, I have here mentioned only one, but actually the epidermis consists of 5 different layers. First one is stratum corneum, which is also called as the horny layer. Okay, so it is having almost 15 to 30 layers of keratinized cells. 15 to 30 layers are present here. I have mentioned only 2. So stratum corneum, it consists of almost 15 to 30 layers of the keratinized cells, and this is called as the horny layer. Then stratum lucidum, it contains 2 to 4 layers of the cells. Okay, but this stratum lucidum, it's only present in thick skin. It's present in the palms and the soles. Only present in palms and soles. So other areas won't consist of this stratum lucidum. Okay, so it is only found in the thick skin, that's palms and the soles. Then we have stratum granulosum. Okay, so it stores glycogen. So it has the function, it is a granular layer, that's why stratum granulosum. So it stores the glycogen. Okay, then we have the stratum spinosum. Stratum spinosum, it's also called as prickle cell. Okay, this is also called as prickle cell, or it has 8 to 10 layers. Okay, 15 to 30, 2 to 4, 8 to 10 layers are present here. And stratum basilae or stratum basilae, it's a single layer, it's only one layer. Okay, it's only a single layer, or it's called as germinative layer. Germinative layer. All other skin layers are derived from here, that's why it's called as the germinative layer. So we were talking about the epidermis. Epidermis consists of different layers: stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and stratum basilae. Okay, so each cell consists of different layers, and each layer consists of further layers, and majorly these cells are keratinocytes. Okay, so epidermis, it continuously renews. It is a continuously, or it continuously renews itself. It is a continuously renewing layer and gives rise to nails. It gives rise to the sweat glands also. Now we were talking mainly about the keratinocytes, because on the basis of keratinocytes we discussed everything. So these keratinocytes are almost 80% of the cells are keratinocytes. Okay, 80% of the cells. So these are derived keratinocytes, or we can say these are the derived keratinocytes. Now there is a process which is called as keratinization. Keratinization means differentiation process which occurs when cells migrate from basal layer to surface of skin. Migration of cells from basal layer to surface, that is called as keratinization. You can see here, this is the basal layer. Okay, this one is the basal layer. When the cells migrate from this layer to the surface, this is called as the keratinization. This process is called as the process of the keratinization. Okay, so keratin, I already told you what keratin is. Keratin is a protein, and that helps to form here, that helps to form nails, that helps to form epidermis of skin. Okay, and it supports skin, it gives the toughness to the skin, it supports skin. Okay, it heals the wounds, it helps in healing wounds, and it keeps hair healthy. So these are the functions of the keratin. Okay, so now this epidermis, it does not contain any blood vessels, as you can see here. Okay, so this epidermis, there are no blood vessels present in the epidermis. So I will write it here. So epidermis is devoid of the blood vessels. Epidermis. So we are talking only about epidermis here. So no blood vessels in epidermis. Okay, so it does not contain any blood vessels. So we can call it as avascular, means absence of the blood vessels. Okay. And cells which are present in the deepest layers of the epidermis, these are nourished by diffused oxygen, because there is no blood supply in the epidermis. You can see there is no blood supply in the epidermis. Then where from it gets the oxygen? Okay, it gets oxygen, it gets the diffused oxygen. So oxygen, because here there is presence of the blood vessels, you can see these are the blood vessels. So this oxygen present here gets diffused, and it gets oxygen, it gets the diffused oxygen. Okay, and blood capillaries are extended to this part, so that's why it gets the diffused oxygen from here. Okay, and what is present in the epidermis? There is pores of the sweat glands. You can see it's a sweat gland. This is the pore which is present here. Okay, pores of sweat glands. These are the shafts of hairs are present in the epidermis. Pores of sweat glands are present here. Okay, and sebaceous glands are also present here. You can see sebaceous glands. These sebaceous glands are also present in the epidermis. This is the sebaceous gland. So it is present in epidermis also. Sebaceous gland which secretes sebum. Okay, if there is clotting or clogging of the sebum, if the sebaceous gland gets clogged, it can lead to acne. Okay, so these all open in the epidermis. Okay, then there is one more term which is associated with it, epidermis. Okay, so that is desquamation. Desquamation means shed off or shedding off. Okay, so stratum corneum, I told you stratum corneum is the uppermost. Okay, and then there is a basal layer. So cells will move from the basal layer to the stratum corneum, and it almost takes almost 28 to 30 days for the cells to reach from basal layer or germinative layer to the stratum corneum, and then it shuts off. Then the cells are shedding off from this stratum corneum layer. So this process is called as the desquamation. Okay, and keratinocytes generally they undergo the mitosis. Okay, and the differentiation takes almost 14 days. You can say 14 days for differentiation and 14 days for the moving. So that is called as a total 28 to 30 days will take, so that the process of desquamation will occur. So this was about the epidermis, that is the first layer. Second layer, which is called as the dermis layer, which is the vascular layer. You can see from here, this is the dermis layer. Okay, this second one layer, this is called as the dermis layer. You can see here, this whole layer will be called as dermis layer. I will move it to here so that I can explain you in a better way. So this layer, this middle one, this is called as the dermis layer. Okay, this is the dermis layer. Now this dermis, this is a tough, this is elastic. You can see DIRMIS, dermis. So this layer is a tough, this layer is elastic. Okay, this middle one, this and this is the dermis layer. So this layer is tough, this is elastic, it has elasticity, it has toughness. So dermis is tough plus elastic. Tough because of the presence of collagen. Okay, and this collagen, this decreases with age. As your age increases, this collagen will decrease, and that's why there are wrinkles present in the old people. So these wrinkles are because of the decrease in collagen with the age. Okay, and one more thing is there: blood, lymph vessels, nerves, hair follicles, sweat glands, sebaceous glands. Okay, sebaceous gland, they secrete the sebum, which keeps us oily. Okay, which lubricates the skin, keeps the skin wet. Okay, so these are all present in the dermis layer, second most layer. Okay, now dermis is having the two layers mainly. Dermis, actually it has two layers. We have mentioned one, but actually it has two layers. Okay, first one is called as the papillary layer. Papillary layer. Okay, and second one is called as reticular layer. Now this papillary layer, it contains collagen and elastic fibers. Collagen plus elastic fibers. Okay, or you can say in the papillary layer there is presence of fibroblasts. Different cells are present there. One is fibroblast, adipocytes, blood vessels. Small blood vessels are also present there. Phagocytes are also present there, which help to remove the foreign materials. For example, macrophages. Touch receptors are present here. Touch receptors. Then nerve fibers. So these all are present in the papillary layer of the dermis. So dermis has two layers, papillary layer and reticular layer. So all these things are present in the papillary layer. Okay. So this papillary layer, one more thing which is important here, you can remember this point. Okay, during pregnancy, this papillary layer, this stretches and this causes marks. Okay, this stretches during pregnancy and causes the marks, which are called as the stretch marks or pregnancy marks. Okay, these are all because of the papillary layer which stretches during pregnancy and causes the skin to have the marks, and this is all because of the papillary layer. Okay, now the second one is reticular layer. This is the second layer which is called as the reticular layer. This reticular layer is much thicker. It has much more thickness than the papillary layer. This is less vascularized, means less blood vessels. Okay, and this has presence of elastic fibers. Elastic fibers. Okay, and at last we have third layer of the skin, which is called as the hypodermis. Hypodermis layer of the skin. You can see from the diagram, this layer, this is called as the hypodermis, the endmost layer, which is called as the hypodermis. Okay, or we call it a subcutaneous layer because there is presence of the fat here. You can see this is fat. Okay, this is called as superficial fascia. Okay, it connects the skin to the fascia bones. So here there will be bones. Now after this there will be presence of the bones. For example, this is a bone. So bone and these are connected. Okay, so connect skin to the fascia of the bones and muscles. So it has a major function which is fat storage. It also provides the insulation. Okay, so insulation also is provided by this. Now there was one thing which was sebum. Sebum we had discussed already. So these were the three layers of the skin. Now there is a sebum. Sebum is an oily substance. This is oily substance. Okay, this oily substance, it mixes with fat molecules. which are called as lipids, and they form the protective covering on the skin surface. Protective covering. So the sebum plus fat, sebum it mixes with the fats, or we can say the lipids, and forms the protective covering. Okay, and these lipids, these hydrate skin and protect from pathogens. Okay, hydration and protect from pathogens. So this is all because of the skin. Okay, now functions of the skin. What are the different functions of the skin? Functions. First function of the skin, that is defense, or we can say defense and protection, or protection and defense. So first line of defense, it is because of the skin. Okay, it protects the underlying structures from the injury. That is first. It protects us from the harmful radiations, harmful chemicals. Okay, that is the function of the skin. Now second one is it regulates body temperature. Regulation of body temperature. Okay, so for example, I can say here sweat glands are present there. Those sweat glands help also in the regulation of the body temperature. If you are feeling too hot, so your body will sweat and there will be heat loss. Okay, this all because of the skin. So regulation of the body temperature. Then third function is it enables touch sensation and other sensations as well. Okay, so touch sensations are there. Okay, then there is excretion. It helps in excretion through the sweat. Excretion through sweat, that's also the function of the skin. Okay, now the skin has two types. It can be of the two types. For example, okay, it can be non-hairy, which is present in the palms and the soles, and it can be hairy where the hairs are present. Okay, one more function of the skin is production of vitamin D. Production of vitamin D by action of light rays. Okay, so this production of vitamin D, how it occurs in our body? Production of vitamin D, it occurs because of 7-dehydrocholecalciferol. Okay, so 7-dehydrocholecalciferol, I can write here 7-dehydrocholecalciferol. Okay, this 7-dehydrocholecalciferol, when UVB light is there, it's present in the sunlight, which have the wavelength of 290 to 350 nanometer. Okay, it falls on the skin, it converts 7-dehydrocholecalciferol, which is present in the skin, into vitamin D3. And this is a non-enzymatic process. No enzyme is needed here. Directly the sunlight will fall on the skin, 7-dehydrocholecalciferol will be converted into vitamin D3. So this is also the function of the skin. Okay, now temperature regulation, I already explained you how it regulates the body temperature. Okay, temperature regulation center, it's present in the hypothalamus. Temperature regulation center, that is present in our hypothalamus, which is a part of the brain. Okay, this hypothalamus, it is sensitive to the temperature of circulatory blood. Sensitive to temperature of circulatory blood. Okay, the blood in the circulation. Okay, and then what it does, it responds to temperature change. This hypothalamus, it responds to temperature change. And how it responds to the temperature change? By sending nerve impulses to arterioles in dermis. The arterioles which are present in the dermis. Okay, so hypothalamus, it is a temperature regulation center. Okay, this hypothalamus, it is sensitive to the temperature of circulatory blood. If there is any change in the temperature in the circulatory blood, it will respond to the temperature change. How? The hypothalamus sends the nerve impulses to arterioles which are present in the dermis. Now what these arterioles will do? They can do vasodilation. Okay, if body temperature increase in body temperature. So if the body temperature increases, what will happen? There will be vasodilation. And what this vasodilation will do? Because of the vasodilation, there will be sweating. Okay, and after sweating, what will happen? There will be evaporation, because the sweat will evaporate and the body will cool down. So temperature decreases. So this is how the temperature decreases. So if the temperature in the body increases, hypothalamus will, because hypothalamus is sensitive, so hypothalamus will send, it will respond to temperature change by sending nerve impulses to arterioles. Those arterioles, they will have a vasodilation. Because of vasodilation, there will be sweating, and when there is sweating, there will be evaporation, and your skin will cool, your body temperature will fall down. Okay, that is the first thing. Now if the body temperature decreases, decrease in body temperature, so how body temperature will increase? It will increase because of vasoconstriction. So your vessels will now constrict. Here the vessels were dilating when the body temperature was increasing, but here when the body temperature falls below 37 degree, what will happen? There will be vasoconstriction. Okay, vessels will be constricted. Because of vasoconstriction, there will be heat conservation of the heat, and because of this the temperature will increase. So there will be increase in the temperature. Okay, now there is sweat. What sweat does? What is the function of the sweat? It eliminates the excess water and salts. Okay, some urea, some drugs also. For example, sweat, it helps in excretion. Okay, for example, drugs which are excreted through sweat or benzoic acid. Examples I am giving: salicylic acid, alcohol. You can see the smell of the alcoholic persons. This is because it's excreted through the skin also. Lead, okay, mercury, and arsenic. So these are the drugs which can be excreted through the skin. Okay, so this was about the structure and the functions of the skin. We will end this topic here.